Hi there, Kelly here on Federal Hill. We are out here in front of Gallery Z, and we are going inside to talk to the wonderful Burge, the owner of the gallery. He's going to take us through the exhibit. So let's just go on in. Hello, Burge. I'm going to hand this to you.
Sure.
Take it away.
Thank you. Hello, everyone. Happy third Thursday of the month, August 20, 2020. So, welcome to Gallery Z. Welcome to Federal Hill, historic Federal Hill. You are at Gallery Z. We've been here close to 20 years. And this is our 8th exhibit of the year. And the theme of the exhibit is called Established and Exceptional Artists from Around the World. So altogether there's 46 artists and all original works from all walks of life, including from the turn of the century, from mid to 19th century to contemporary art. We have artists from Lebanon, artists from San Francisco, artists from Armenia, artists from Florida, from Manhattan, from Chicago, from a few from Rhode Island, a lot from Boston area. And so the works are various mediums, and it's a step of life of current exhibit of works that are various styles and also of course mediums, as I said. So this is a beautiful painting by Lee Shabbat, artist from Rhode Island, established artist, and this is the 3,994 mile bridge. So what he's done is connected Venice to our mighty Munaspatucket River over here in Providence, Rhode Island. Down below is an artist from Havana by the name of Evan Molino, and he is Cuban artist. These are beautiful studies. They're all original works. They're $150. We are tax-free zone. We're one of the first tax-free zone galleries, which we instituted about 17 years ago with RISCA and the State House Finance Committee. And Lincoln Chafee, right before he left his office about 7 years ago, he made the entire state tax-free, and tax-free for art and wine, of course. One of my very established artists is this artist by the name of Kevork Murad. Kevork has, from Gallery Z, upwards of 390 collectors in 20 years. He's an artist that lives in Manhattan in Tribeca, and he works with the Silk Road Ensemble of Yo-Yo Ma, and he's the visual artist for the ensemble. He does live music, live performance, drawing, sketching, and live projection to live music. And these are actually his works. We have some gloves that people, if they're going to flip the images, beautiful pieces of art. All original. And this is a flat file that we have from Kevork. And he travels quite a bit. One day he could be in Tokyo, and 2 weeks later in Dubai, and then one day in Manhattan in Carnegie Hall or Metropolitan Museum of Art. So moving along, artist here is established, actually it's a beautiful abstraction. Her name is Cindy Robinson. Lives one of these birds that fly to Florida, whatever they call those. She lives about 8 months out of the year in Florida, and they have her and her husband, who's an executive, David, have a home in Rhode Island. I love this color; it's very vibrant. And then there's another piece of her work right here. Also another Cindy Robinson, beautiful work. And then we could scan over to this side, another Kevork, very sensual piece. This is called From the Land of Peaches. I love this piece. It's a very large piece. It's actually 24 by 55 inches. It's acrylic on rice paper mounted on various mediums, mounted on canvas. A very beautiful piece. One of our featured artists is Larry Lawrence Sykes. Larry is born in 1931. He's my college mentor. He's 89 years old. He's still with us, not well. These are collage pieces and assemblage pieces. He calls them conjugagraphs. Larry's a big, tall man, and these are pieces that he's incorporated his photography and his travels throughout the world, particularly the African continent. And who puts these together. He calls them conjugaphs. Then coming to the left, we have multiple pieces that we have some limited time. This is artist training comes from Flemish and Dutch 15th, 16th century feel. His name is Armin Vahramyan. He's an artist of late 50s, lives in Yerevan, Armenia. I was showing his work, Gallery Z was showing his work for about 15 years, till about 4 years ago on my 7th trip into Armenia. I went and met him, and we hugged each other. I bought some pieces, supported him, supporting the arts, of course, and brought some of the pieces back. He's wonderful, a lot of symbolism in his work. Back there in the back wall spanning is on the right side, a beautiful landscape. It's oil on linen. Established artist originally from North Kingstown, Rhode Island. Now she lives in North Carolina by the name of Stephanie Marzella. She's a painter and she works a lot in swamps and lakes and ponds and rivers. And that is done in South County. She usually does her palette with a drawing, sketching with the underlayment is under her studies actually on with sepia tones, and then she goes back to her studio and finishes the piece. And to the left of that is our Renaissance man, great photographer, 73-year-old Angelo Maronasi Jr., great photographer, sculptor, musician, and also definitely a painter. In the top left, there might be a little reflection, is an established artist also from Rhode Island by the name of Mark Friedman. Mark did this particular piece. It's a pastel with oil stick in December of 1989 when in Olneyville, Rhode Island, the Atlantic Mills fire happened and lots of artists were sort of living there illegally, and there were one cat was lost unfortunately, but nobody got hurt. But a lot of people lost their studio space. The mill particularly burned. And how much time do we have?
We have 10 minutes.
Oh, boy.
So we have probably
another couple
minutes left.
Sure. Then reaching over again. Oh, by the way, this is one of my favorite artists by the name of Samwell Karakinion. Samwell is a 58-year-old artist, again from Armenia. I met him first in October 1986. My first trip into Armenia, went to his studio and bought this piece from his hands. Great artist. He lives now in Belmont, Massachusetts, has a studio in Cambridge, Massachusetts. Up there is another one of his pieces, and it's called Black Horse on an End Night. Panning to the left in the bottom, wonderful piece. It's a mixed media, particularly oil, and these are actually floor tiles. You could see the grid, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and this is an artist by the name of Manhattan artist by the name of Jeff Pullen. Jeff is a painter, seasoned artist. Most of his paintings, I kind of almost weigh them by the kilo. This one weighs about 35 pounds. We had a truck show up about 15 years ago. We had his solo exhibit, and we couldn't carry the work. Some were almost 200 pounds. So he goes double plywood, but he's a good painter. This one depicts Flushing Meadow Park in Queens. To the right of this is a little lake there. To the right of this, which is not seen here, is the World Trade Center. And they have the globe there. There was 1965 World Trade. To the left is another established artist from Manhattan and eventually retired in Long Island and Manhasset and passed away in Montauk. Her name is Mary Magurdichian, and beautiful painter. She did a lot of portrait, a lot of still lifes, and she was working and playing in cityscapes, and happened to be that I sort of inherited the whole estate of her work. It's a long story, but when we sell her work, we donate the piece or we donate her art. And this one actually has, you could see the World Trade Centers here. And it's a town, the city I grew up in. I lived there for at least 7 years in Manhattan. You could pan over to this side here. We have an artist by the name of Yvonne Kaczynski. Yvonne is a fellow of 75 years old. He's an artist from Moscow. He's a sculptor. This is a study of one of his pieces. The real statue of this piece, of this sitting woman, is about 10 feet tall, located in Moscow. This is a study of the work, also solid bronze. So Yvonne Kaczynski is actually the president of the Russian Sculptor Union. He's very close friend with our comrade Putin, the Russian leader. Another RISD artist here. Wonderful, very Tacoma, very American Indian Southwestern look, but it's not Southwestern at all. Is an old friend by the name of Eric Bright. Eric is a graduate from Rhode Island School of Design. He's very much involved with the steel yard and also a lot of activity in his complex projects with real estate and construction and development. I'm going to show you a few more. This one is a piece from, it's called Cowshed, do it a D. It's Helena Stoker is the artist. Fortunately, Helena passed away in 2013. She's an artist that came from Czechoslovakia, escaped the communist era in 1960s, early mid-60s, and settled actually in Rhode Island. She was an exhibited, established artist, and born 1933, but she had a couple of strokes, and she was a very active artist, very a la Chagall style, if I may, but I don't want to dismiss it as that. Wonderful work, some very loose works and very established colors. Her mixture of color was very soft. She created thousands and thousands of pieces of art, and I knew her personally. She's a very beautiful person. And over here we have our own commercial, established Rhode Island-based artist by the name. We sold both of these, by the way, last week. And Anthony Tomaselli. So this is, depicting New York City scurry. That's that one New York City scurry. This one is Broadway in Manhattan. I love his New York City taxi cabs. So then we can wrap it up over here. We have various artists with various disciplines and styles and mediums. We have artists that have done works on oil on wax. Down here is another Helena Stoker. It's from her Mosaic series. This is another artist from RISD. He's an alumni. Richard Carlson. These were his studies of his nudes he did many years ago. And finally, panning to the right here, we have artists again from Armenia. An artist that's 64 years old. His name is Harut Ajaganyan. And so this outer pieces, this piece, and these two are his works. And he's mostly illustrative work, and he's one breath painter. So he works all the time on paper. He doesn't like the negotiation or the humor of the bounce back of the canvas, if I may. He likes the drawing to happen very solid, mixes some color. In most of his palettes, something happens and little scurry thing happens, or the wheel or some head of an animal pops up. When those type of things happen, he stops the palette. This is a beautiful piece, a wonderful molding from turn of century. And this is Andrea Ferraro, Italian artist, passed away in 1914. This one is a pastel on paper. I think there's some oil stick on that. We still do not know if this is a boy or a girl. So, Kelly, what do you think?
I think by the shirt, it's a boy.
It's a boy, yeah. We've had, and it's very interesting, that turn of life, look at the eyebrows. And I don't think the pastel fell apart. I mean, it's in good shape. And I don't even think it's sealed. Yeah, and continuing our tour, some more pieces. This is an artist from Armenian artist, actually. Her name is Lara B. She's about 46 years old. She's originally from Lebanon, Beirut, Lebanon. This piece, excuse the fingers, this piece, that piece, and a window that we also sold. So Lara is an artist that lives in San Francisco now. She's married to a very dear friend. His name is Ruben. He's a surgeon. She works mostly in mixed media. Initially, it was all oil. Then she had her first daughter, second daughter, and the fumes were too much. So she works primarily in oil, then acrylic, then starts mixing heirloom and some cutouts of fabric. You could see very closely, but a very warm palette. And she works particularly either with daylight and candlelight, which is amazing. I love her work. This is a beautiful piece right here. This is an artist from Spain, actually. A typical scene, gentleman sitting having some of that wine, some more cargo of donkeys delivering their little huts of jugs of wine. So Cano Romero is the name. Romero Cano is the last name. Painting, it's oil on linen, another beautiful molding. Lara B, another piece right here. So this is our 8th exhibit of Gallery Z. We have a very extensive video on this particular exhibit. Every month we change exhibits. We are online. We have 3 websites. Our website is galleryzprov.com, and we ship for free. Again, we're tax-free. If we're asked, we can extend a small 5, 10, maybe 15% discount. It's good to support the arts, the artists, the gallery, and the buyer is also very happy then he or she is obtaining an original piece of art. And that's what we thrive on. Over 400 artists for 37-year relationship and 20 years in this location of Gallery Z. Love you all. Thank you. And Kelly, so much. Thank you for Gallery Night.
Thank you, Burj. Back to you, Alyssa.